Hi everyone to the balance preview June 24 balance updates. This update brings many functional changes as well as reworks to some underused skills and traits. As always, the goal of previewing these changes is to gather your feedback before the live releases. We'll be following the conversation and making further adjustments as needed. Thanks, Tyler Brigg Brooks, competitive designer. Alright, so general, they're changing. Let's see. Dark Aura is now obtainable by performing a leap finisher in a dark field. This update has added a new application methods, added new trade triggers for Dark Aura for thieves and revenants. Blasting a Dark Aura is just condition damage reduction, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah, reduces incoming condition damage and causes torment each time you are struck. 1 second cooldown per application per. So it's probably good because I think it was previously, wasn't it blind? Which is kind of annoying. No, wait. Dark field. I am. I'm thinking smoke field. Anyway, that's good. I'm happy with that. Dark Aura is kind of, it's kind of nice. Like you got a way of reducing. I do wish they made it like blast too, I guess, but that's alright. Dark field. Oh no, you could combo it. Yeah, only with the leap. It would be nice if you could do it with the blast too in the dark field, but whatever. Elements is seeing functional reworks are two of its main utility, arcane power and glyph of elemental power, as we are aiming to make skills with broader use cases. In the last preview, we had planned changes to hammer to increase some of the damage. We pulled away from those changes due to a recent meta development, Hammer on Tempest. Flame Wheel's large damage bonus held a large part of the weapon's power budget, which it was able to share with non-weapon skills such as Overload Air. We are reducing Flame Wheel's damage bonus while improving Hammer's other skills so the weapons maintains more consistent strength across elite specializations in PvE. Lastly, Aura Sharing Tempest have been a mainstay for competitive modes, but due to the Tempest alacrity application methods, it's harder to justify in PvE. We are adding alacrity to Elemental Bastion in PvE so we can align Tempest's healing identity across all of our game modes. Okay, so let me just Elemental Bastion. Okay, so now they're pretty much merging the two effects. So giving auras now also applies alacrity. So doesn't this mean that you've got two ways of applying aura, like alacrity now? Like either you can aura spam. Like that would make Heal Tempest a lot stronger from memory because the heal trait that was OP was always this here. Elemental Bastion, the aura trait. Because of like the insane scaling of 0.55. So now it's got two ways of applying alacrity, like either by overloading or by granting auras. Interesting. I mean, I still see people probably like it depends on what duration they give here. I could see like some niche use cases elsewhere potentially, but I see this being like the choice on Heal Tempest if they give it enough duration to make it worthwhile. That's good. I'm happy with that. Kind of doesn't make it so you rely entirely. But it's dog with a lack. I don't think it's going to change much with that because you still get the auras from one overloading because you need to overload to get the aura. And two, 9 out of 10 times, like it depends on the duration they give it to it. Like it's pretty much what matters most is what the duration they give to it is. So we'll see. Let's go through this. Flame Wheel, reduce damage increase. Oh, dude, they just fucked that, dude. Holy shit. 10% damage nerf on Flame Wheel. Holy shit, dude. I mean, it just depends on what they do duration-wise. Singeing Strike, they increase base power coefficient. Okay, so basically they're nerfing it here, and then they're trying to do like what, like a 10% buff here, like on the scaling, like roughly. Oh, more than a 10% buff because this is final multiplier. And I can see that being a good choice. It's kind of sad because I did like the uniqueness of Hammer's like flame wheel increasing damage. But I can see why they don't want to have like weapons increasing damage as a percentage. They rather want traits increasing damage as a percentage. So I can get behind that. I can understand the functional change makes it easy to balance. Otherwise, you've got cases like what they say here with the Tempest, like adding multipliers, stacking them together for the overload. I do really hope that this makes Hammer worth playing, because I actually really like the Hammer. Obviously, we won't, like, I'm not a, like, maths nerd. I don't know if this is going to be overall worth it. Because they're, like, they're nerfing it and they're buffing it, so it makes it a bit strange to do. But they increased the grand finale damage. Also, one other change is these changes here on Ellie is probably going to make it easier for people with a higher ping to play Ellie. Because Flame Wheel is a bit annoying. At least I found it a bit annoying to play. Even though I really like the class, I was just never really that good at it. Probably if I put more time into the Hammer at one point, I could probably do better. I think from memory, it was like I could only get up to like 80-ish%. Ether Renewal. Cantrip, cure condition and heal yourself for every pulse. There is one thing I will actually say. I'm disappointed looking at these changes. There's no changes to any of the healing skills for the build itself. The problem I find with healing Catalyst is that there's no good like heal skill to use to like heal your group. Because obviously Tempest has Shake the Pain Away or whatever it's called, the water one. Like the heal. Whereas Catalyst kind of lacks that. I was kind of hoping they would like fix that a bit. Yeah, Wash the Pain Away. And that was kind of like, it's nice because it gives you like a burst healing skill. Whereas I feel like the other ones don't have it. Like usually classes have it on like a base skill that they can use regardless. Right? Like if you think about Warrior, they've got like the healing shout that you can still use. You know, it's not the best in slot, but it's still usable. Like they've got like a base form, like you've got the Ranger has the healing trap, you know, like Necro has the healing well, like Rev, I mean, their heals aren't really AoE apart from Carla Legend and Centaur kind. I guess you could say Centaur does, but yeah. Anyway, Signal of Water, the skill now removes 3 conditions from affected allies. Okay, so they added... This used to... Is this a heal skill? No, this is just a util skill. Okay, I mean, it removes 3 conditions from allies. That's pretty good. There's a trait that makes signets give auras when you cast them. So I can see that they're making this change potentially to synergize with the new changes to Arcane Elements of Bastion. Pretty good choice. I don't really have an issue with it. 3 conditions is not like amazing, right? Like it's pretty good. 20-second cooldown. That's actually not bad. Cleansing Fire, the skill now breaks stun, reduces the ammunition count from 2 to 1, increases the number of conditions removed from 3 to 4. Ooh, that's pretty good. That's gonna be pretty strong. Like having a stun break is pretty good, especially if it removes conditions. Arcane Power, the skill has been reworked and renamed Arcane Echo. The skill now causes your next weapon skill to recharge instantly. The recharge of the skill is increased. The recharge. Oh, that's pretty cool. So they're reworking the skill to make it like, instead of forcing it to crit, because all power builds, shocker, they crit anyway, like 100% of the time. So now there's like a... Your next skill kind of has no cooldown. That's kind of cracked. I'm trying to think application cases for this. You'd probably want to use this on stuff with like extremely long cooldowns. But as to what like the best choice for that's gonna be, I'm not entirely sure which the best choice is gonna be, but I could see this having maybe some niche play, and like a new interaction with Ellie. So I'd be pretty happy with that. Like this could be used for Power Arcondi actually. Especially if you got stuff that's like long ticket AoEs. So like I'm thinking like Warhorn 5. Healing Rain or Geyser. So yeah, like it could like this change is actually very smart because it could be used. Yeah, you're actually right. It could be used for the healing build, it could be used for the Connie build, it could be used for the power build. Like there's a potential there to use it like, or like even like think about it, if like you need excessive CC, right? You could potentially take this skill to like have your CC back up like instantly, right? The same with like, yeah, if you need Geyser, you know, to carry new players, you know, you just run Arcane Power. Like this is actually a very good choice. I like this actually. Functionally, as to how this is going to work out, it might not be using the power of the Condi builds because it might not be a skill that's worth the opportunity cost. But personally, I like the choice. Glyph of Elemental Power. So this is the one that benchmarkers use instead of the Fire Ellies because it's more reliable than the Fire Ellie RNG. The skill's been reworked. Unleash elemental energy around you, and it's with its effect during differing per attunement. Okay. So fire will burn and damage nearby enemies. Water will remove conditions from nearby allies. Air will briefly daze nearby enemies. Earth will grant barrier to nearby allies. Think. I could see this being useful for supports. It might be useful for condies or maybe power damage, but by the looks of things, you're probably not running this. But I see it as a nice change. Like people do kind of use this, but it's, you know, only in places where you can't really maintain your like fire chickens, you know? So like places like, oh, you're doing greens for like Doom, they die. Scepter Warhorn, no. So if you look at all of the bench, yeah. So if you look at all the benches, I'm pretty sure for all the Connie builds, they pretty much all say you want to use the summons. Unless, but you bench with the elemental power because the elemental power is less RNG, whereas the chickens have a very bad RNG element to their attacks. But overall, on average, they end up being more damage. But this might actually be good because it gives you more cleave. So this is like burn and damage nearby enemies. So like I could see this being good as like, now I could see this being good if you're doing like, say for example, Greer CM, and you want to play Connie Tempest. I could see it being a good choice because you've got more cleave damage. So like I could see it more as like a cleave option now. So like now it's got some choice, provided the burn stacks are like worth it. Pyromancers, I don't even know how to say that, bro. Puissance. Yes. This trait no longer removes might when triggering flame explosion. Oh, this is the trait where you like exploded and you gave all your might when you reached max stacks. I mean, it's gonna be pretty good for like the healer, but I don't see anyone using this over like. I don't see anyone using this inside of Fire Trade Line over the other ones because like, yeah, you got persisting flames. You gain increased strike damage for, I mean, you could probably run it on Condi. It'd be like a minimum damage loss, but be my. Maybe because it does damage. Like, you might do it on the Condi build actually. Yeah, I could see people using that on the Condi build. So, but the Condi build already like applies so much might because you're overloading fire and earth. So it's just gonna make it even better at applying that. Blinding Ashes. This trait has been reworked and renamed to Inferno. Burning now scales with power instead of condition damage, but at a reduced rate. Wait, bro. I'm sorry, what? Yo, are we gonna be seeing the return of fucking Hybrid Weaver, dude? Dude, is Hybrid Weaver coming back? Dude, if Hybrid Weaver comes back, I'm gonna be so happy, okay? It might be busted, bro. Soothing Disruption. Cantrips now grow on boons. This trait will now grow on a different boon for each cantrip. Instead of always applying Vigor, all cantrips now still apply regeneration. Yes, I believe the rune is Balefire? Balefire rune. I think it's this one. Hey, look at that, dude. Look at that. Look at that. I know the game. How do I know that, bro? Because this is what used to be used on Hybrid Weaver. It went up in price. I don't think that this year can be sold in TP. It's dungeons only. Like, the only way to get this one is through dungeons. Everyone's gonna be running dungeons. It's one of the dungeon runes. Yeah. Which is good. I hope they do add some reworks to the dungeon rewards, but probably not because it's the balance preview. Okay, so the healing gives vigor. That's nice. Fury on cleansing fire. Kind of a strange choice. Mist form gaining stability on ending. Is this to yourself or to allies? This is to yourself. I'm not too like sold on this choice. Like, I don't think this is gonna do anything really. Maybe in PvP. Arcane Light Lane, this trait now grants the user quickness when they use Arcane Echo. I don't think anyone's really going to be using Arcane Trade Line that much, unless it's like a boon build, so... Yep, and then this is what we went over earlier, so the trait Aura is now grant Alacrity in addition to its previous effects. It's probably going to make Heal Tempest a lot stronger, so Heal Tempest getting some buffs. It just depends on the duration they give to this, whether or not it's worth it, but at this point they might as well just merge the Alacrity trait down into the Elemental Bastion and just make a new trait where the Alacrity one is. But... it's up to ANET what they want to do there. Tailored Victory can now move while using this skill. Good. I don't know why it would have locked you in place. I don't use that, so I don't think anyone even uses Tailored Victory. I think you kind of hold. You'd rather just like, yeah. Engineer. This updates. Engineers changes are focused on their core utility skills. Some elixirs have additional functionality, and detection poles getting a small rework to make utility goggles a more appealing option outside of the niche stealth reveal. Larger changes to bomb kit and flamethrower still shift defensive skills to the toolbox slot and add new skills to the kit itself. Grenade crits increased velocity is becoming a baseline to increase the kit's user ability in competitive modes without Grenadier. Additionally, the functional changes to many Grandmaster traits will now potentially increase trait variety in competitive modes. No, like look, slow. Look, it's not. I don't even think this is for others because it's like Grom boons. It's not like there's no number of people, right? Like there's no number of people, so this is like pretty much selfish. It only does it to yourself. That's even worse. Yeah, there's like no point you're running this on us unless it's like PvP or something and you're like some like bunker build or some bullshit. I don't know. There could be some like niche application to it, but no. Elixir B, this now extends the duration of boons on you by 3 seconds. Okay, so it's basically the same as Ranger heal skill on Healers 1. So Elixir B. I mean, it's an interesting choice. I just don't know if that's worth it, if they taking the other boons away. So they might. Elixir C. The skill is now instant and heals you for each boon you have after converting conditions. Damn, that's gonna be really strong. Holy shit. Isn't the... What is the utility belt skill for this? Isn't it throw? Yeah, the tool belt skill is toss elixir C. So this is gonna be really strong on the heal build, actually. But it's only 2 boons that you convert. Interesting choice. It's not gonna be bad. If they make the toss one heal as well scale, it might be pretty PogChamp. Elixir R, the skill now breaks stun, increases the cooldown from 24 to 35 seconds in World v World and PvP. So Elixir R basically refills your endurance and removes immobilizing effects. Interesting choice. Immob is kind of obnoxious in World v World, so I could see that being worthwhile. I think the only complaint I have here is maybe toss some resistance into it. And I don't know why you would give it a stun break. Because I can see, like, you're going to cleanse it and you're instantly going to get it again. Because most forms of, like, immob are, like, completely, like, going over it again and again and again. Detection pulse. The skill has now been reworked to and named Flash Bang. Holy shit, okay. Throw out an explosive shell in a target area. It explodes on impact, dazing and blinding nearby enemies while revealing enemies in a larger radius. Dude, Pog fucking champ, dude. Fuck it, dude. Add more ways to reveal, dude. Fuck Invis Thieves, dude. Hell yes, dude. Add the counterplay, dude. That's what I like to see. Add counterplay to Invis. Yep. That's what's needed. Add the counterplay to Thieves. I do wish that there was more counterplays to it. Yeah. No, dude, I don't like stealth being like, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even like the fact that Deadeye has a way to, when revealed, still go invisible. I wish that shit would be removed. Fumigate, the still now removes conditions from users when initially cast. Okay, that's not bad. The trade? No, the elite skill. So Thief has the elite skill. Let me quickly go on to a Thief and show you. No, perfect. This is the Deadeye. Give me 2 seconds. So this skill here, it removes revealed. Shadow Meld. So yes. There is a way. Bomb reduce the power coefficient in PvP. Okay. Firebomb. The skill now increases burning on the first pulse. Total burning amount is unchanged. Okay, so they're pretty much just making the burn more like bursty, I guess. Kind of good. You could probably use that in like PvE a bit more. And make it in PvP too. Like if you CC someone, you've got like a higher Condi burst, which is nice. Not terrible, but the skill's being reworked and renamed Galvanic Bomb. Set an explosion that electrocutes nearby enemies, dazing them. Oof. Oh no, does that mean they're removing the confusion from it? Dude, do they want to kill Triple Kit? I mean, because that means in Bomb Kit, you've only got like 2 Condi skills now, right? Sorry. That pet is a bit too happy, dude, for me. Smoke Bomb. The skill is now instant. It has been moved to the toolbar slot and replaced by Magnetic Bomb. Magnetic Bomb sets an explosion that pulls in enemies after a delay. Bro, that is terrifying. You're telling me you added 2 CC skills onto Bomb Kit? Bro, that is terrifying. Like, you give it one that dazes people and one that sucks them in. That is fucking terrifying. What the fuck? In PvP or world versus world, like... No, it's like, dude, it's still damage. Like, because if you think about it, Bomb Kit, you really only use the... You only really use the fire one. Yeah, dude. Like, dude, I'm not sure if you remember, there was a point in time where, like, Scrapper would use Bomb Kit, right? In World v World. And they would just use all their gyros and they would just run around holding one in Bomb Kit. Just going. Like, this was basically them, dude. In like, World v World, dude. And it's gonna be back, dude. I'm telling you, it's coming back, dude. Now they're gonna be pulling us, too. They don't need Flamethrower. Oh my god, dude, kill me. It's actually gonna be terrifying. I'm actually scared already. What the fuck? Big old bomb. The skill's been moved to Bomb Kit, replacing glue. Oh, they removed the immob. Okay, they removed the immob. That's not bad. And now knocks enemies down instead of launching them. And now combos as a... Oh my god, dude. Okay, take it back. They've got 3 CC skills on Bomb Kit. You can pull them in. You can daze them. And you can knock them down. Great, bro. Just... What the fuck? Dude, this is... Dude, what the fuck? Oh, God. Smoke Vent is now being moved to... Oh, sorry. Flame Blast. The skill no longer damages the enemy it passes through, increasing the explosion power coefficient. 7.5 to 1.3. Increases the explosion burning stacks to in PvE only. Okay. It's already used in the Connie build, so... Oh, it's cooked, bro. I can't wait to see how many people in World v World are going to be crying about Bomb Kit scrappers now. Vent Kit. A vent smoke from the flamethrower, blinding nearby foes. And that's a stun break. Adding that to a tool belt skill, it's kind of terrifying. You're giving them a... Oh, but that reduces the instant cost burning that you used to get. Yeah. The skill's been moved to the 5th slot and reworked. Supercharge your flamethrower, damaging and burning nearby enemies in a large cone in front of you. Stoke the Flames. This is a new skill to the flamethrower's 4th slot. Gain quickness and might when burning nearby enemies. Okay. Kind of strange choice. I don't know how I feel. Increase the grenade's velocity by 100. Grenadier. Okay, so this just increases radius. No longer increases grenade velocity. No. It doesn't mean that. It means the travel time of the grenades. So, without it, the grenades travel at a certain speed. So it basically just makes it so that, hey, your grenades travel faster in the air. So, like, in PvP, it matters because if you're not running Grenadier, you're probably going to be missing unless you're casting, like, you're, like, predicting where they're going to be running. So just, yeah. Literally no change in PvE. Literally none. Flashbang, this trait has been reworked to Grand Entrance. Explosive Entrance now grants resistance and increased critical chance for a short period of time. Oh, God. Resistance is a very strong boon. I am kind of terrified. I guess removing a CC. A lot of reworking. I mean, people do use these traits in PvP, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure Flashbang is used. Hemantic Focus. This trait has been reworked. Granting gain Fury when you inflict bleeding on an enemy. Fury has an increased effectiveness. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's good that they're doing this. They did this with pets a while back on Ranger, but I feel like the amount of value that you get from reworking pets wasn't worth the cost of time that it would have taken them to go through all the pets and like figure out like a good balance for them. Like, you could have just done them like one at a time, be like, okay, this pet's kind of underused, let's just buff it a little bit or buff it a lot, make it OP, fuck it, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I would much rather they have like it more frequently where they're just like, fuck it, just buff that pet, no one cares. But it hasn't changed much, I don't think, with Condi Ranger. But I don't know, I don't play that class too much to be like 100% certain. Hematic Focus, this trait is now being reworked. Gain Fury when you inflict bleed on an enemy. Fury has increased effectiveness. Okay, so instead of making it against bleeding foes, just grow on increased. Which trade line is this in? Firearms. I mean, this is the power, like, use this in power, no? So this is just going to be, depending on what they make this, like, increase the Fury's effectiveness. This might make it very strong for PvE, for, like, Power Hollow and stuff. It's pretty cool. Juggernaut, this trade has been moved to the Master tier, replacing Pinpoint Distribution. Where's Pinpoint Distribution? Right, over there. In combat, you gain mind yourself and each allies at intervals. Okay, so gain mind stability while wielding a flamethrower. Might you apply constant increased duration? Okay, interesting choice. The skill no longer pulses stability. Increase ground stability and fire aura when you use napalm. Thank God, dude. I hated the fact it pulsed it. It just made it like a noob trap. It was very good low elo. Equal and opposite reaction. New firearms Grandmaster trait line now grants quickness and stability when you disable an enemy. That's kind of terrifying because of all the new stuff that they've added, but Iron Blooded, this trait has been reworked and renamed Chain Reaction. Successfully comboing a field with a blast or a leap finisher grants you barrier. Every third trigger of this trait grants a large barrier and might. I think the only place you use Iron Blooded, I could be wrong, is when you're playing Hand Kite in Deimos. I don't think you actually run this trait on Heal Mech. Because I believe if we go to the Alchemy trait line, there's a better trait in this because, yeah, you've got Purity of Purpose is a much better trait than Iron Blooded. Like when you cleanse a condition from an ally, convert it to a boon instead. Generally better, or you want elixirs to grow out might. So elixirs are stuff like even your, fuck. One of the kits, this one. From Elixir Gun. Here's an elixir, duh. I'm just dumb. A gadget tier, the trait now causes Slick Shoes to break stun and gain stability instead of crippling foes, and causes utility goggles to grow on barrier instead of protection. To break stun and grant stability instead of crippling foes. Okay, so you knock down foes and you gain stability for it. Not bad. Hollowsmith. The 5 is now an evade. Yo, that's huge, dude. And they're increasing prime light beams damage. Vent exhaust. This trait now grants vigor on dodge in addition to its previous effects. So I believe this is when you take the hollow skill that you basically the thermal release. So every time you dodge, you lower your heat and apply conditions to foes. That's pretty good, because I think Vigor was an important boon for like Condi Hollow if you were playing the Vent Exhaust builds on it. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that change. It's not terrible. Like, get behind it. I do hope it like gets better and Condi Hollow isn't like 4 kits. Sorry, 3 kits, sorry. Don't know why I said 4. Since the advent of Offhand Store, Guardian's focus struggled to retain its identity as a damaging offhand weapon. This update, we are focused on giving a functionality update to Ray of Judgment so that it focused on having identity more as a utility-focused offhand. Greatsword is receiving changes to increase the consistency of the weapon, and Heavy Light now has additional functionality to increase its burst damage potential. Milo is coming, okay? Our lad Milo, he is coming from the sentence alone, okay? He's gooning. They just buffed its burst damage even higher. Looks like we're all learning power DH now for burst. It's what we wanted. Since the advent of Offhand Sword, yeah, whatever. Orb of Wrath. The projectiles fired from the skill now track their target. Wait, it never tracked your target? What the fuck? So like if they moved, it would just straight up miss? Okay, interesting. Chains of Light decrease the cooldown to 15 seconds. What's the immob set? 5 seconds of immob. Okay. Interesting. I still don't think people are going to be using this. It's pretty much always just going to be Greatsword Spear is what people are going to use on DH. Ray of Judgment. The skill now strikes a ground targeted area, and allies in the area are cleansed of a condition or granted regeneration. Enemies struck have a Ray of Light attached to them. It deals continuous damage, reducing the number of impacts from 9 to 6. Increase the damage coefficient to be higher. That makes it a good cleansing weapon. But would you take this over shield? I could see you take this over shield maybe in places like Sloth or like Matthias. But the problem is you still would probably just want to play Chrono. I'm trying to think. You could probably run this on offhand, maybe on like Firebrand, like on Condi Firebrand. Or like an AoE damage. Because like you can technically like on Condi Firebrand run an offhand. Shield of Wrath, increase the duration. The problem is it kind of does like, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be used that much. It'll be like a niche pick for some people that like have like a utility case for it, but for the most part, I don't think it's gonna be doing much. Leap of Faith increases healing. Additional hits now heal for a lesser amount. Doesn't really do much. Symbol of Resolution deals additional damage on its first hit. Milo is nutting. Binding Blaze, projectile from the skill. Now only hit the original target. The effect inflicted by the skill now stacks when applied by different sources, increasing the maximum pull distance and the power coefficient. Ooh. This might actually be an overall nerf to Blinding Blade, right? Because I thought this was 5 targets, so you would get this damage times 5, right? Oof, that might be enough. I don't know. Because this is why DHs want to be like inside the hitbox so that all these Binding Blades targeting other stuff would always hit just the boss. Line of Warding, reduce the cast time. I'm kind of for this. Like 1 second is a bit long. But it's going to be very fast now with quickness. Signal of Wrath now applies burning in addition to its previous effects. People kind of use this as a utility if you need like a mob stuff like Rigorm on Samurog, or you know, like the Prides on Deimos. Like that's pretty much why people use it. There's no other real reason why you would ever use this skill, I guess. Signet of Judgment reduces all incoming damage. Gain resolution protection to nearby allies and burn nearby foes. This skill no longer inflicts burning and now inflicts blind and weakness to nearby enemies. That's good for utilities. Probably going to be find use in PvP probably. Chill of the Adventure. The skill now also grants protection to allies within its dome. Okay, interesting choice. Not bad. Heavy light gains stability when disabling a foe. Deal increased strike damage to disable the defiant foes. Increases knockback, pull, taunt, whatever. The street now also grants bonus damage to foes that are exposed. Is it? Because I feel like the way this functions, like you can only get exposed if you're defiant. So you're already gaining the damage bonus. Here. Okay, so maybe it goes up 5%. So you get like a 5% buff. Depends what percentage they make it. If you're defiant, you're exposed. Like you can get exposed. It depends on what the percentage is, but it might be just like a 5% increase during like that phase time. So it's still going to be good. Depends if they make it 20. It depends on the numbers they add to this. I do wish that they gave like a base, like we're currently looking at a percentage from this range to this range, you know, to give people an idea of what they're planning to do with it. But because a lot of these changes are like this one here is very specifically based on percentage. Like personally, I don't think DH needs the buff. Like burst damage wise, it's like a very, 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 very strong spot. But it is what it is. Sorry. I think I'm getting sick, so I've got like flame in the back of my throat. It is what it is. For Mesmer, this update is focused on opening up Necromancer's master trait tier and Mirage's weapon options in PvE. Since approved in Alacrity, got a critical damage increase tacked onto it. It maintained... It dominated the tier list of all Necromancer. It dominated the tier for all Necromancer builds. The critical damage increase is being removed from approved Alacrity, and as damage is being moved to the minor trait flow of time in the form of critical strike chance. Mirage previously had improved build components locked behind weapon choice. Alacrity could only be granted by staff, a large increase to power damage, requiring a spear. The Mirage's condition damage traits required axes. Both Mirage Mantle and Mirage axes have been reworked to be applicable to any weapon. Additionally, Dune Cloak now is gain the ability to recharge offensive shatters. Our goal in Dune Cloak is to create a damaging trait alternative to Infinite Horizons for Mirages to prefer a shatter focused playstyle. Sip it. I'm sipping my coffee, don't worry. Okay. Phase retreats getting a reduced cooldown PvP and World v World. It's kind of going to be obnoxious in PvP, I guess. We might get some like condition builds in PvP. All right. Axis of Symmetry. Clones casting the skill will no longer be interrupted when gaining Mirage Cloak. Thank fuck. So this is a functional update to the way that you played Condition Mirage. So some people don't really know this, but this skill used to get interrupted by your Mirage Cloak because, and this was a large part of playing good Condition Mirage. So this is the Snowcrows build for Condition Mirage, right? And you'll see here in the user notes, where is it? somewhere here. Yes. I don't know. There was a portion of it that basically said that like you wanted Axis of Symmetry to basically finish casting, and you had to, while playing yourself, you not only had to watch your skills, you had to watch your clone's skills while doing it, because they would interrupt stuff like this, which is like a lot of confusion. So basically that's a good change. That functionally made Mirage Axe harder to play, but didn't. And like the skill to it would basically be just watching your clones, which is kind of annoying because you would have quickness, but your clones wouldn't have quickness, which is the issue, right? Furious Interruption. The Stray now grants might in addition to its previous effects. Nice. So basically you're giving yourself quickness and might. It's nice for bursts. Kind of a bit scary, to be honest, but that's fine. Power block. The Stray no longer increases the cooldown of interrupted skills and now grants a damage bonus when you interrupt an enemy. That's good. It kind of had like an RNG element to it where it would like enemy skills that you've interrupted have increased cooldowns, increase the recharge of skills with no. Yeah. No, that's good. So instead of like making your foe skills like that you interrupted even longer, it's now just like you get a damage boost. That's nice. Pretty good. Probably on the higher tier of like more skilled players, it's a bit of a nerf to the skill, but that's fine. Evasive Mirror. The Strait has been reworked and renamed to Wandering Mind, cleansing a non-damaging condition and gaining stiffness when evading an attack. So you no longer, when evading, gain Mirror Cloak, where you reflect projectiles for 2 seconds. That's probably good. It's kind of annoying. Because it would make it like, oh, you've got the dodge invulnerability, and then you've got this for 2 seconds after that, making the Mirage a bit more squishy. I'm a bit scared about the chrono changes, actually. So we're getting onto that now. So we will see what happens here, but that'll be interesting. Chronomancer, Flow of Time. So this is the Alacrity trait. Right? Kind of a bit scary where you get Alacrity on Shatter. So this trait now increases critical strike chance of yourself and illusions when under the effect of Alacrity. Danger Time is... Dude, okay. You want to know what this is going to do? Alright, I will tell you what this is going to do. Basically... Now, Boon Chronomancer, you're going to have a build for the quickness and a build for the alacrity. The reason being, we're now going back to Danger Time. So now we're going to have to care about slow up time on Chrono again, because improved crit chance is a lot less valuable than improved crit damage. Very few things in this game give a percentage-based crit damage. The reason being is it's not additive, it's multiplicative, okay? So crit chance is just additive, whereas crit damage is multiplicative. So that's why there's so much value in crit damage percentage. And that's why everyone used improved alacrity, because it was that strong, right? Like the crit damage increase, even just being 10%, was that strong that we would use it. Right? Because it would be after all your other multipliers, you've got this 10% damage buff. It's multiplicative. So, huge nerf to, like it's straight up just a 10% nerf to quickness version of this build. Yes, you're going to be able to get more ferocity now because we've got the crit chance of Danger Time. But now we're going to have to care about slow up time. So if you're a chrono, that means you're going to have to shatter your F3, I believe, is the one that gives slow. So it's a bit annoying. I think this is probably going to make... I would straight up just not play quick boon chrono, because unless they make it so that this works on unless they add this crit chance to the quickness version of the build too. Was expecting a heal chrono nerf, not a DPS boon chrono nerf. Well, technically this is actually a buff to the Alacrity version, because the reason it's technically a buff is if you're playing the Alac chrono, now you're not only getting the 15% crit chance, okay, your crit damage, you're also getting a 15% crit chance boost, because you're probably going to ditch improved Alacrity. Kind of sucks. I kind of like the fact that you had quicker cooldowns, you know. But this is probably just not worth having a 15% crit chance. Sorry, this is not worth having, like, not worth, like, yeah, like you're gonna get the crit chance. I would say more likely you're gonna be running this 15% crit chance on danger time. I'd be very surprised if not. Like, it might be worth like the cooldowns on your weapon skills being lower, being worth it, but I don't think so. I think you're probably running danger time and you're running flow of time. Personally, I don't mind the changes. I just think that if they're going to add it to flow of time, the crit damage, then they need to add it to the quickness, or the quickness boon chronomancer is going to be significantly weaker, like significantly weaker than the Alacrity version, to the point where it's going to be impossible to balance, because it's basically, you like, the way it's going to function is the game's going to have to balance around the Alacrity version and not around the quickness version. So you're always going to have this case where, say for example, I think Boon Chronomonster is what, at 36k at the moment. So that's going to mean if this remains, like, if I had to guess, like, we'll use an example, I could be wrong. The Boon Chrono could potentially be sitting after this maybe at like 37, 38k. And then you're going to have the quickness version of the build probably sitting around 10% less than that. So they're probably going to be sitting at about 33, 34k. So it's going to be significantly weaker just off the fact that, like, you're a power damage class and your crit is just not working. Now, I don't think this is going to change anything for the condition build that much. But illusionary reversion. This trait now runs Alacrity in addition to its previous effects. Shadow skills grant a generate clone if you have enough clones present. And now grants Alacrity in addition to its previous effects. Is this like to yourself only? I guess it's a DPS chrono buff, but not really, because DPS chrono just straight up got nerfed because you don't have access to the crit damage bonus. Oh, no, this is just crit chance. Oh, no, wait, I'm so dumb. Sorry, I am so dumb with what I was saying earlier. So danger time is the increased crit damage. So, okay, so they're both getting increased crit damage. Okay, forget everything I said about the chrono earlier. They're both getting the crit damage, but you're going to have a different build from the Alac version and the quickness version, because the Alac version of chrono is going to get 15% crit chance, and the quickness version isn't. It's just going to make it annoying to play. You might as well just add this to the quickness version as well, but still what I said stands. Illusionary reversion. I still think this is a weird one. Like, just why? I mean, if this is better, then it might be used on the heal version. It might just be a straight up version of the heal version, heal chrono. But whatever. Improved Alacrity. This doesn't change anything for the heal version. Obviously, you're probably not going to run it now on the damage versions, but we'll move on from that. Split Surge. Increase the cooldown from 1 second to 0.5 seconds. Increase the power coefficient from 0.85 to 1.06. Okay, that's such a random number, but they're buffing this, so we're going to be playing Power Mirage soon, guys. Power Mirage is going to be the way. Chaos Vertex. Increase the boon radius. Okay, nice. So, to 480, I think that's more damage. That's all right. Mirage Mantle. Ambush skills are improved. This trait now causes ambush skills to grant boons to nearby allies. So I'm assuming that what they want to do here, based on what they said in their description here, is that they want to make it so that you can apply alacrity with a large variety of skills. So I'm assuming that the Mirage Mantle is just going to make it that you apply alacrity with more skills. And then you also get the plus 15% damage buff. So that's going to be cool. Might be a bit too strong, but we'll see. Axe skills generate an additional Phantasm Axe. This trait is now being reworked and renamed Phantom Pain. This trait now causes shatter skills to cause a damage bonus based on the number of illusions shattered. Okay, interesting. Depends on what I feel like this is just going to be a number change, but this could be above. June Glow, this trait now reduces the cooldown of Mind Whack and Cry of Frustration upon gaining Mirage Cloak in addition to its previous effects. So, shatter skills gain Mirage Cloak when enough clones are present. Nice. So, 2 clones. Dude, this is going to be insanely strong in PvE. Like, you're just constantly going to get a 1 second of Mirage Cloak. Kind of cracked, actually. But, whatever. Necromancer is receiving a handful of quality of life changes as well as reworks to its Transfusion trait. Staff is a weapon with a strong identity in PvP, but it struggles elsewhere. Transfusion is being reworked to augment Staff's marks to give supportive capabilities. Staff will now gain a new identity as a support weapon while giving support necromancers some additional tools. Lich Form is being tweaked to make it more appealing for condition-focused builds to use its full duration. Yeah, we finally have a heal weapon. Dude, the funniest thing about Heal Necro is the way you used to apply regen outside of Staff 2 was you would just dodge roll. So you would just be like dodging. So that's going to be interesting. I still think that Dagger is probably, yeah, an overall nerf. Telly Scourge. Oof, unlucky. Let's we'll read through anyway. Mark of Blood. The skill's mark now also be triggered by allies. Thank fuck, because the problem with the skill was that you had to trigger it on enemies. It was annoying. This was the skill I was talking about. You get this inside of the what is the straight line? I draw a blank, dude. Inside of Blood Magic, right? So it's over here. What are the skills? Basically, whenever you dodge, you apply it. Am I blind? Oh, yeah, here. Mark of Evasion. Leave a mark of blood when you dodge. I don't know why I was looking further down. It was the first one. Let's see. The skill mark will now be triggered by allies. It's overall good change. Yeah, but the problem for it was like if you didn't have it triggered by an enemy, if you spam dodged, instead of like healing your allies and applying the boon, it would just replace the mark, which is annoying. Oh yeah, this is a base necro skill. Reduce the cost time of the skill, damage foes, and steal their life force. Increase life force per hit to 1%. Nice. Whale of Doom. Reduce the aftercost of the skill. Thank fuck. Yeah, dude, we're gonna see more core necros in PvE, bro, and PvP. Summon Flesh Will. This skill will now go to reduce cooldown when summon is dismissed upon mounting. So basically, it gets a reduced cost if it's instead of killing it, you consume it. That's good. Lich Form, reduce cooldown. That's good. Deathly Core. The skill now afflicts bleeding. Nice. Lich's Gaze. The skill speed reworked. It now fires a projectile at your target, chilling and corrupting boons on hit. Yo, dude, are we gonna get this on Condi Reaper? Are we gonna Lich Form in Condi Reaper now? Is that what's gonna happen? If it applies chill, Condi Reaper's gonna love it, dude. Yo, dude, Condi Reaper buff, dude, confirmed. Ain't loves it, okay? Signets of Suffering. Signets steal health and remove boons from affected foes. Siphon healing is reduced for each target struck beyond the first. Increase the base life siphon damage. Okay, so they're doubling in PP and World. Increase the baseline siphon healing. Okay. Nice, so just adding more. Transfusion. This trait has now been reworked. Mark can now be triggered by allies and will heal and grant additional supportive effects to allies when triggered. Creating creates what the fuck? She-Blanes at your location when you use your 4th Shroud skill. The fuck is a I don't even fucking want to say that. Okay, so Mark of Blood grants vigor to allies in an area. So this is good. So baseline, your dodges now just grant vigor. Kind of insane for the class. Pretty good. Okay. So it's this. So chill creates a protect and grants protection to allies in the area. So basically, whenever you cast your 4 in Shroud, you will drop this skill as well. They probably just failed to link it. That's good. So basically, your 4 in Shroud just grants protection baseline to allies as well. It's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I think if I was to guess, if they just straight up put the healing and the revive per pulse onto it, it's gonna be good. Putrid Mark removes condition from allies in the area, so you have a cleanse. Okay. Reaper's Mark grants stability in an area, so that's the fear. More cleanse, yeah. I think the thing most terrifying about this is, one, if you're running blood magic on Scourge, you will permanently have vigor. So actually, Kuma, you said Selly Scourge nerfed, right? So if I was to go to my Selly Scourge, ignore the fact that it's entangled depths, it is what it is. Trait lines. Are you using transfusion? You are using transfusion anyway, right? Like there's no skill in this trait line that you would use rather than transfusion. So I would say it's overall buffed, no? Like you could probably run Vampiric Presence, right? Like instead, like now you would have permanent vigor from dodging, because every time you dodge with lesser marker of blood, you would be giving yourself vigor. And then every time you use Shroud 4, you would be basically doing the Chillblade skill. I would say overall it probably is a buff to the healing capabilities of it. So yeah, I would say that's kind of a buff actually. I would say that's straight up a buff, because now it's going to be easier to tank Greer with Selly Scourge, right? Because you would have permanent vigor from the dodging with the Mark of Blood, because the Mark of Blood would just constantly be giving you vigor, right? Like you would just be constantly slammed with vigor. Like, Staff is just a DPS loss on Selly Scourge? No, but wait. Yeah, no. Yeah, so you would just, you wouldn't even run Staff. You would just, instead, you would just dodge, give yourself the Mark of Blood and the vigor, and then boom. Like, you would have permanent vigor. Like, you don't even need to run the Staff, and then you would still get, like, Chill Blades whenever you use the Transfusion, right? So the F4. No, you wouldn't run it. Like, I would still run the same thing, dude. You wouldn't need to run Staff at all. So it's just straight up, you're just now like, oh, bro, I have vigor, right? And now you have a way of, like, giving heals and protection, right? Whenever you use the 4 skill, like the F4, you would just give yourself prod as well. So, like, I don't think, like, you could probably permanently maintain protection between, like, F5 and F4 now. It's actually so pog for it, dude. It's a straight up buff, dude. Because you would, like, I wouldn't run Staff. Fuck that, dude. Unless you're, like, full heal Scourge, you'll run Staff. But for most heal Scourges, you ain't running fucking Staff, dude. You're just gonna dodge. And because you have vigor, like, you'll be able to, like, use this more. Yeah, so interesting choice, is what it is. Blights reduce health percentage decreased from 1.5% to 1% in PvE only. I mean, this wasn't really necessary, but fuck it, bro. We'll take it. More damage. Like, now you can be more greedy with your blight stacks than you could previously. Harbor on HTCM is especially, yeah. Like, it's easier everywhere because it used to just be terrifying. Like, so, like, right, like, if I pull out a calculator, I don't even know why I'm pulling out a calculator. I can already, like, it's going to be what, like 32.5%? So you'd be getting like 32.5% of your health would be decreased when you're in Blight, right? At max stacks at 25, right? Now it's only going to be 25%. So you're essentially going to have like, yeah, 12.5% more HP. I wasn't here whenever the Greatsword, but fuck, Greatsword 5 change on God. Wait, isn't it a nerf, Milo? Am I wrong? Because instead it seems like it's changing from a 5 target to a single target. Am I wrong? Like, you would know more than I would, Milo. It's still 5 target? Oh, fuck. That's a big buff then, dude. Now you no longer have to be in the hitbox apart from when you're spinning. Can't do the Giga GS5 tech. I mean, they still buffed it in a few other ways, right? Like up at the top here with some of the others. Like this here. More damage on the first strike. So. Man. What is it? Overall buff, Milo? Dude, because I thought you were going to be gooning at their first sentence where they were, you know, to make it more damage, to increase the burst potential. And the buffs are shitty. Power God is going to get buffed so high and they didn't see it on Stoker's page on top. It'll come back down. So we have same Power God as right now with shitty. Okay. Rip. Oh, man. This update, Rangers received some small updates to Torch and the Skirmisher specialization line. Grandmaster Trace, Torch is gaining a blind as well as a stronger burst of burning to give it a boost in competitive modes. Quick draw, providing quickness, and light on your feet's uptime increase will make them potentially more competitive alternative to Vicious Quarry. The Restorative Strikes trait has been reworked to leverage the strength of Vow of the Untamed while incentivizing you and your pet to be unleashed for even amounts of time. In a bit, Austin, I just want to finish the patch notes. We're nearing the end. We're getting to my Revenant section where I'm just going to be cooming. Okay. Throw torch, increase ammunition from 1 to 2. The skill now inflicts blindness in addition to its previous effects. Okay. I don't really play PvP, so I'm thinking this more in PvE context. I guess now you have an ammo for Torch 4, so you can kind of just like leave one stack there, but it's still probably going to use it. Bonfire, the skill now releases an additional burst of fire when used. The additional burning, the total burning amount is unchanged. Fuck, dude. So it changes nothing really apart from maybe I'll use more Torch 4s. Alright. Quick draw, the now grants quickness in addition to its previous effects. This is only really used on the Condi in PvE, so you're probably just going to be it's just going to improve your quickness uptime. It's not terrible. Lightning Fee, this trait now triggers with any ranger skill that evades, increasing the effect duration from 4 to 6. That's pretty good. I wish it always functioned this way. So now if you evade with like dagger 4, this is going to work. Which you use in the Condi build. So it's going to be pretty pog-champ. Overall buff to the Condi, I guess. Unstoppable Union. This trait has been reworked. Gain protection when entering or leaving beast mode. Okay. I don't really see that changing anything for PvE, maybe. Does this affect Hankite? Yeah, I guess it would affect Hankite, but like most people when they play Hankite, they don't even like use this trait, I believe. Let me just quickly check. Come on, come on. Come on, wiki. There we go. Here we go. Traits. Unstoppable Union. I guess maybe. Like you could probably run it instead of like the refreshing reinforcement. You probably run it. But most people when they Hankite, they're not demerging, so it doesn't matter. This trait now displays on the effect bar when it's not on cooldown. The effect bar is overclouded. ANED, please add like different tiers to it. So add the boons go above the other unique traits, and then like add 3 tiers to like the problem is the buff bar is too large. They need to like fix it so that there's like they're stacking stuff on top of each other. So boons should be on top. Then you should have like unique character like traits, and then underneath that you should have like, oh, you've got like your magic find booster on. Like no one gives a fuck about your magic find booster. Yes. But it's a decent-ish change. At least you have something to show you that's on cooldown. Restorative Strikes, Australia reworked and renames Bioth. I don't even want to say that. When you and your pet unleashed, gain a stack of biorhythm every interval for a duration, and granting a percentage of strike damage on as healing when you receive biorhythm stacks threshold. The next time you and your pet unleash, gain bonus for Vow of the Untamed. Alright, so basically you just incentivized to swap between the two more. We're focusing on Legendary, Demon Stance, and the Corruption Specialization trait line for Revenant in this update. Corruption is gaining some small dark aura hooks to enhance the natural synergy of it with Embrace of Darkness, Darkveil. Legendary Demon Stance is getting damage outside of Embrace the Darkness to incentivize a more aggressive playstyle. Similar to Aura Focused Tempest, Healing Heal Vindicators are a popular build in competitive modes that PvE largely can't partake in. Alacrity is being added to Vindicator's supportive dodge to allow for the Kurzix to shine. Yo? Dark Aura? Am I earning 100 gold? Am I earning 100 gold? Is Revenant getting buffed or nerfed? Because I made a bet with Sliv. All right, let's see. Aggressive Agitated. This trait is being renamed Aggressive Arrival. Now grants resistance when swapping legends instead of on a movement ability. You're swapping anyway all the time. You're not running this on the condition build. You might run it on a heal build if you like. It's some niche cases. Maybe it's all right. No one really. I don't really care about this. It's not really doing anything for me. Brutality. This trait has no longer removes stability when striking with quickness, and instead causes you to deal increased damage when you strike a foe that has protection or stability. That's kind of pog, actually. Because wouldn't this be really strong on, like, Kidim? Like, but would this be worth ditching Swift Determination? I don't think it will be. Actually, it will, because this is only below 50% health, which none of the ads have. And Kidim permanently has one boon in most groups because you're... Nah, but you're not... You're leaving him without stability in most cases. It's not worth running. Unless you're, like, doing the... Spellbreaker version, right? Replenishing Despair. This trait is being reworked. Gaining Dark Aura siphons health from nearby enemies. Oof, dude. Oof, oof, oof. Yo, no more additional 1 pip gain, guys. So all those people running this trait line to make up for the changes to bubble are still just getting fucked, dude. Oh, shit, dude. I mean, this is going to change nothing. Maybe you run this on like a heal build. Not really. Still, I don't see this used because why would you care? Invoke Torment transfers conditions from you onto foes. Like, I could see this being useful in PvP. This changes nothing in PvE. Okay, let's see. Empowering Misery. This skill now grants Dark Aura per condition, so you just buff you for using a heal skill. Okay. Banish Enchantment now inflicts Torment when striking an enemy in addition to its previous effects. Great, so you now get some damage for the cost of Boon Rip. Free Torment on hit? Yeah, but you have to be the one hit, right? It's not applying it to your allies, it's only applying it to you. If it applied it to your allies as well, it would be kind of pog, but it's only to you. Call it Anguish, which is the leap skill. This skill now grants access to a follow-up skill, unyielding impact. Leap in place and slam the ground, dealing damage and inflicting burning, torment, and poison on foes you strike. The problem with this skill is it's 30 energy. 30 energy to use. It's a lot of fucking energy. It's just not worth the opportunity cost that the other skills are, unless you like have 100 energy and you quickly need to drain it. If the follow-up skill costs any energy whatsoever, it's just not worth using. What I would hope that they do is that they just make the unyielding impact by default cost. I don't know why they're making it a separate skill. Just make it an after cost, like after like a second, it does like an AoE slam. I think that's a better choice, personally, if you want to add a follow-up skill to it. But in most cases, it's not going to matter. Righteous Rebel, this now trait causes Carlos Fervor to increase outgoing healing effectiveness instead of reducing incoming condition damage. No, my increased oh, bro, now I'm getting increased healing effectiveness as like a DPS class, bro. My condition, dude, this is gonna hurt when you're playing Condi Ren, because when you're playing Condi Ren, this actually helps you a lot, okay? Because you get bonus condition damage time on you. If you don't have your healer cleansing you, life is hurting, bro. Life is pain and suffering, okay? But at least we're gonna have access to the Dark Aura, so like, you know, yeah, it's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, Vindicator. So when struck while below the health threshold, heal allies in an area and cleanse their conditions. This trait is now being reworked. Healing and granting protection to nearby allies when using a heal skill. Okay, that's all right. I can get behind that. You're using bubble all the time, so I'm assuming they're gonna have to put a cooldown on this. If it's gonna keep the same cooldown, 30 seconds, like every 30 seconds when you're moving your bubble, you're just gonna heal allies and grant them protection. That's cute, not that great. Saint of Zuheldner. This trait now applies alacrity to areas allies you dodge. So this is just straight up a buff to heal Vindicator. So we might actually have a lack heal Vindicator for PvE, guys. So now it's back. I do wish that they would have made a lack heal Renegade with it. I don't think this change to Righteous Rebel is going to fix a lack heal Renegade, unfortunately. The problem is just the Collar Legend is just not that great for the lack heal anymore. Ever since they put the ICD on the elite skill, it just isn't able to heal people enough. So that's a rip. But Slipher, you owe me 100 gold because straight up the Dark Aura changes are kind of a buff. They didn't nerf anything for the condition damage of this build. If anything, the utility skills within the build just got a buff because if you have to use them, you know. So we straight up, we enjoy the buff, okay? And now, you know, my outgoing healing is increased, dude. So 100 gold, dude. I'm waiting. My mail is open. Don't make me post the clip. Made 100 gold tonight, baby. Let's go. We're eating good tonight, dude. All right, Thief. How many more do we have, bro? We still have Warrior to do? Holy shit. Now the big winner is Thief. Dude, it was so hard not to read Zalal Bizikumin in my fucking Discord because they were Thief changes. The guy's happy. We're continuing to improve supporter focused Spectre as well as adding Dark Aura options to help the top row of Shadow Art specialization line. Shadow Step is being reworked so that Spectre's alacrity application can be more controlled and to make space for new tools. Shadow Art is giving synergy with Dark Aura to allow thieves to support allies with the trait line outside of stealthing. Spectre's initiative penalty is being removed so that its weapons can share a similar efficacy across elite specializations. Both Deathly Blossoms and Daredevils are getting small boosts to them, giving them a bump up in PvP. Why? Why would you buff this in PvP, bro? Ugh, dude, we're just gonna have fucking Death Blossoms and PvP. I don't really care. Increase the bleed stacks per hit from 1 to 2 and reduce bleed duration by half in PvE. So it's basically the same damage in PvE. Okay, I don't really care that much. Black Powder reduced the initiative cost in World v World. Okay, interesting. Don't really care that much. Shadow Sap. So this is reduce the initiative cost from... Oh, they increased the cost from 3 to 4. Oof. Measured Shot. Shadow Step and Fire Shot that hinders and helps allies. Increase the initiative cost from 3 to 4. Fast ramping, basically. Yeah. Signet of Shadows. The skill now grants Dark Aura in addition to its previous effects. So, okay. The Blind, Weakness, Dark Aura, Vulnerability. Jesus, that's kind of stacked ability now. Dagger Storm, increasing bleeding stacks from 1 to 2 and the bleeding duration from 5 to 7 in PvE only. Nice. We might have Dagger Storm Thieves be the choice utility for Thieves now, guys. Mug, increase healing. Nice. So that's safer for people playing Kite on Q1 because you run this usually there, or on Pylon Kite. It just makes you survive better every time you use your F1 skill. Spark Champ. It's all right. Not bad. Even the odds increase the might duration from 6 to 8 seconds in PvP and World v World. I don't really care. I don't play those game modes that much. Same with Reveal Training. Increase base power to 100. And the bonus damage, interesting. Exposed weakness. Actually, there is one thing I will say about this. I do hope that they make this instead of when revealed to when you exit stealth, because if they start adding skills in the game that reveal you on Thief, then you're kind of going to like it a little bit, where if they reveal you while you're doing your burst, then congratulations, you just increase the Thief's burst. You kind of want to make it that when they exit stealth. So I would prefer it if they put the reveal training to make it when you successfully land an ambush skill that you get this buff. That's my only thought on the skill. I think it would be better if they did that. But ANET can battle, that's how they want. Exposed weakness, increase the damage per condition from 2% to 3% in World v World and PvP. Increase static damage for each unique condition on them. Nice, sorry. Shielding and Restoration. The trait now applies Dark Aura to allies in addition to a barrier, granting barriers to nearby allies when you use a healing skill. Nice. AoE Dark Aura. I like the application of that. After completing a Shadow Step, you are healed. Nearby allies are also healed for a larger amount. This trait has been reworked, gaining Dark Aura when you steal. And gaining Dark Aura heals nearby allies. Nice. I like that change. It's pretty good. Covering of shadows. When you steal, create a field around you that grants protection to nearby allies. Gaining Dark Aura removes a condition from nearby allies. Nice. Heal Thief just got buffed further. That's pretty good. I don't think it was in a bad spot pre-change, but now it's in a very good spot by the looks of things. I do still hope and pray that ANET makes it that you can basically tether allies in Spectre again. Just bring that back, please, ANET. I really want it to be back. It makes it so that you can apply boons from afar, and it increases the skill floor. Sorry, it increases the skill ceiling without lowering the skill floor. That's my only gripe that I wanted to change, but distracting daggers, interrupting a foe with a skill, no longer increase the cooldown of interrupted skill, increase grants to use your initiative, and a damage increase. Yeah. The tether allies no longer makes alacrity pulse around them. That just feels bad. Roller's tenacity, increase endurance gained from 10 to 15. This girl's grant endurance. Impacting disruption. The trait now reduces Steel's recharge in addition to its previous effects. Okay, so interrupting a foe just does a preliminary like damage after some time. So nice, that's pretty good. So you might just use distracting daggers spam. Impaling Lotus. Projectiles from the skill no longer only hit their original target. The skill now only hit their original target. Increase torment stacks from 1 to 2. Increase the bleeding from 1 stacks for 15 seconds to 3 stacks for 10 seconds. PvE only. Nice. Condi Daredevil buff. Hulk champ, dude. Unhindered Combatant. This trait no longer inflicts exhaustion when removing Cripple. Reduce the exhaustion duration when removing Chill from... Well, fuck me, I guess. This is going to be painful. So Spectre no longer reduces the maximum initiative. That's good. I like that. Shadow Step. This trait now is reworked. It now augments your Shadow Shroud skills to have additional supportive effects. The 2 provides a small amount of... Oh no, that's the 1. The 1 provides a small amount of healing to allies. Nice. The 2 grants alacrity to nearby allies in PvE and regeneration to nearby allies in PvP and World v World. Nice. The 3 3 grants protection to nearby allies. Nice. The 4 is a large amount of healing to nearby allies. Pretty good too. And the 5 applies Aegis to nearby allies. Nice, dude. Having application to Aegis. Spark Champ. I'm pretty much for these changes. It gives some utility to the Spectre skills. Spectre's limiting thing is still going to be the fact that your Shroud is a health pool. So tanking on it is a bit awkward, but for the most part, these changes are definitely bringing it up there as Thief. I don't think it would be S tier. I think it's probably going to be like an A tier healer at the moment. And as an off healer, I think as an off healer, it's probably going to be S tier. If you don't have to tank, it's probably going to be, I would say, probably one of the best healers in the game at the moment. But if you're a healer, you usually have to tank in this game. Kind of is what it is. Warrior. Our goal in this update to increase Warrior's weapon variety in both PvE and competitive modes. In PvE, due to the strength of dual wielding and the power of offhand abilities, some two-handed weapons have fallen behind. Greatswords, 100 blades, and hammers' synergistic traits are now being brought up so that the weapons can shine in competitive modes. However, main hand weapons, apart from daggers, struggle to justify their use. Axes Eviscerate will now be more consistent, large hit, and Mace gains the ability to cancel a block on demand and damage with counterblow. So more power is being put into the level 1 burst skills for Axe and Mace so that they are more appealing to spellbreakers. Bladesworn is now receiving changes focusing on improving the quality of life of the specialization. Berserker's small boosts are aimed to help its performance in PvE and PvP. Eviscerates increase the range from 300 to 450. The skill now has a 50% increased critical strike chance. Increase the power coefficients in World World and PvP. Look, if you're playing a power build, you're pretty much crit capped anyways. The 50% increased crit chance, not really going to do much. Maybe there's like a build where you just axe only. But the problem is that you wouldn't want that because you gain energy when you crit on axe skills. So it would make it inconsistent to, like, you know, triple hit, eviscerate. I think it would be better if they removed the crit chance and they just added like maybe like a 5% crit damage or something. Would be a nice change if they wanted to buff this skill in some way or fashion, because 50% crit chance just does nothing. But whatever. Cyclone Axe increases period duration to 1.5 seconds in 1v1 PB. Nice. I don't really care. It doesn't change anything for me in PvE. Reduce the damage increase at 50%, from 50% to 25%, and at 25% target health from. So this is a nerf to throw axe, which is kind of sad. Okay. At least like you get it in World and PvP, I guess. Skullcrack increase the stun duration from to. Okay, so they buffed the Skullcrack. This is kind of terrifying for Condi Warrior. Because Condi Warrior uses Mace and the trait where you daze, you know, you inflict confusion. Counterblow. The skill can now be reactivated on enemies, inflicting a lesser amount of vulnerability. The skill no longer grants adrenaline when it ends, and now grants adrenaline when you strike an enemy. Increase the power coefficient in PvP and World. Interesting. Kind of a bit awkward because you used to use it on the heal warrior to gain some energy. But overall, not a terrible change. So 100 blades increase the power coefficient on the final strike power coefficient in PvE. Nice. So now we want to use Greatsword. I personally don't like Greatsword. I find it a bit clunky to play because you're kind of just like stuck in place a bit awkwardly. I do wish that they would make it that you could move with 100 blades. That'd be so cool. But it is what it is. Aina doesn't like us that way. So this trait now inflicts vulnerability increase instead of bleeding. I think 100 blades would be cool is if like you lock the camera so the character can't change the direction they're facing, but you could still move. So then you would have to like, you would be attacking this direction and you could move. You know what I mean? Like if you ever played like Yuumi in League of Legends, you cast your ult, right? And it just keeps pulsing this way. But then if you move the character, it still pulses in that direction. You just can't change the direction of the cast. I think that'd be nice, personally, but add some unique where you can't move. No. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah. I think it's the water 2, I think it is a similar animation. Merciless Hammer, increase the damage from... And I do hope they would update the visuals of it. Heat the Soul, increase quickness duration from 3 to 5 seconds in PvE. Quick Warrior buff, dude. Quickness Warrior. Now it's going to be easier to maintain quickness on Quick Zerka. I do think if they want to make Quick Zerka functionally better, there's 2 things that they could do to it to make it functionally better. 1, give quickness regardless of whether or not you hit an enemy. And 2, give quickness upon entering what's it called? Berserk form. Because the problem with it is like there's like a 2-second window where you basically don't have like a 1 or 2 second window where you don't have quickness. And openers are very important for power builds. So how you usually do it is usually open with headbutt. You stun break the headbutt. You go into you F1, F2 to open into Berserk mode, and then you F1. That's usually how you play the class. So by the time you've given, and by the end of that is where you give the quickness, when you hit the F1 at the end. So any place in between now where you can give the quickness earlier is better just for the class overall as a quickness, provider to the group. Because overall, I would still not want a quick warrior. I would rather have a quick anything else because they are able to apply the quickness immediately. Straight now afflicts vulnerability instead of bleeding. Dazes. Okay, so they're removing the bleeding. Now apply vulnerability. So that's good because it's annoying in PvE. Improving the hammer and mace damage when disabling foes. That's nice. I can get behind that. Stalwart speed gains the instability when you disable a foe. Increase strike damage while you have stability. Nice. And then Dead or Alive. This trade now heals in addition to its previous effects. I don't really use that skill. Don't really care that much. Artillery Slash increases the maximum ammo count. Reduce the maximum ammo count. This skill nowadays is for 1.5 seconds at 1 ammo spent and stuns for 3 seconds at 2 ammo spent in PvE. Okay, interesting, nice. The skill no longer creates a mine and will cause an explosion at the end of the evade. Okay, I think this was used in Blade Swan. It's alright. It just now creates like an explosion. So it's like easier to hit basically. Detonate cartridges. The skill now replaces supercharged cartridges. Supercharged cartridges causes your remaining overcharged cartridges to increase explosion damage even more. Okay, interesting. Increase passive flow stacks from 1 to 2 and PvE only. Okay. Increase passive flow stacks from 2 to 1. Swift as the wind. Easy way to get flow. Increase flow from, I guess you just gain more flow overall. Dragon Scale Defense. This trait no longer has an internal. Gaining booms when entering Dragon Trigger. I don't know why this had a cooldown, because you get a cooldown on the Dragon Trigger anyway, so. Unshakable Mountain. This trait has been reworked. gain barrier when you convert flow into charges well below the charge threshold. Nice. Interesting. Lush Forest. This trait no longer has an internal cooldown. Using the first round of ammo on an ammunition skill, reduce the recharge of all warrior skills. Does not recharge the Unsheathed Gun Saber, Sheath Gun Saber, and Dragon Trigger. Okay. Interesting. Relic Preview, the next major update. Relic 1, enemies you interrupt are inflicted with a unique damaging debuff. Okay, depending on what that damaging debuff is, that might be nice. Torment, Burn. Upon using a stance skill, cleanse a condition from yourself. Don't really care about that. Upon using a cantrip or meditation skill, gain protection. Grant yourself might when you grant... Wait. Grant yourself a stack of might when you grant might to yourself. Gain increased critical chance while you have might at or above the stack threshold. Okay, interesting. Gain volatility when you successfully combo a field with a blast finisher. Blasting at the stack threshold triggers an explosion, increasing damage. Gain a stacking buff upon you upon completing combat triggers. Upon certain combat triggers. When you reach the buff threshold, increase stats in all boons for a duration. Buff granted using a healing skill, using an elite skill, evading an attack, disabling a foe. Must do each once. Ugh, dude, too complicated to function. Fine. And that is the balanced review. So, overall, I'm just gonna give my thoughts on it. Overall, seems good. There's some things they can adjust to it. Like a lot of it's gonna matter with the numbers. I do hope that they change the boon chrono to make the quickness and the alack of the DPS boon chrono to be like the same, because now you're gonna have a build different for when you're playing the quickness version and for when you're playing the alacrity version. Makes it a pain in the ass to do. No one wants to fucking do that, okay? Everyone likes chrono because the way it functions, it can do either or easily without having to change its builds or anything. I think that's highly required that they fix that. Extremely required. Hammer changes, I hope it's strong. It just depends on the coefficient scaling. I don't do the maths, so we're all fine. DH changes, you know, less rewarding for higher end players, like Milo said earlier, but still overall kind of a buff for like majority of players. Lowering the floor a bit, it's all right. And I'm getting 100 gold because I made a bet with Slipher they wouldn't nerf Condi Ren, and I was right. So, hell yes, 100 gold to me. Let's go.